Whoa, jingle! Happy time has just begun. Brother, sister, smart, dumb, fun. Yeah!
Sunday fun day. Sunday fun day with the brothers and sisters. Yeah. Da-da-da-da-da. What's up here, brothers?
Well, Jenny, we're just talking about before we started the program when time day was. I'm looking for outdoor solar lights that are fun.
Yeah.
Found some really good ones, but the ones I really wanted only got a 3.9 review, and I was like, oh. But then I found some other ones I really like. I was like, oh, and Dad was like, what are you looking at? I was like, oh, outdoor lights. Ooh. And the ones, the second one, like got 4.4, which is much better. So
I'm glad that you found your second choice is more acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you always worry about those things that have a 3. And then I love reading the reviews because the reviews are either like, this sucks, or they write like their PhD dissertation on the thing that they bought. Those are my favorite to read because it's like, this thing did this and that, and then I did this and this with it, and this did this unexpected things and this and this. And you're like, oh, look at you having some time to write. Obviously,
exactly.
You've got some free time and no kids in your life. That's amazing.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, these are cute. And then they have some dragonfly ones, which I also kind of liked, but those didn't get a very good review either. So I have to spend some time looking at them and put them on my wish list. So maybe I can get like 40 cents off or something.
Give 40 cents off and free shipping. And we can make, right now it looks like Elon Musk is going to be the first trillionaire instead of Jeff Bezos. And it's like, we have to help Jeff Bezos become the first trillionaire. So you're welcome, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Because there's nothing gross about any of that. It's fine. It's fine.
No,
yeah.
Nothing gross at all.
Nothing gross at all. Okay. All right. Well, happy Sunday, everybody. It is the first Sunday in June. Here we are. I know I'm going to have to open a whole new folder when I record this video and put it up on the internets and stuff because it's now June. And I got to tell you, it felt like June this week. It felt like summer. I had lamb chops and corn on the cob for dinner tonight. So that was a totally kind of a summer meal. And what else? It just was hot. I looked like I got done with my run this morning and my face was so pink. I was like, look at me looking like I'm going to die. So I was running back towards my car and I was almost done. And I actually felt really good, even though it was hot and I was tired. I didn't feel bad at all. And I ran by some kid who looked to be about, I don't know, 19. And he looked at me. He's like, you got this. You can do it. You can do it. You could just see the panic in his face as the overweight woman with the incredibly red face was running at him. He's like, you're going to die. I just got to let her know she's going to be okay.
It's like, what do I remember from CPR?
Totally. I'm like, I wasn't even really breathing hard. I'm like, I didn't feel bad at all. I felt, actually pretty good. I'm like, I literally had like less than a minute to go too. So I was like feeling no pain. And this poor kid was like, good job. Good job. So yeah. So thanks, young man, for your encouragement. And I'm glad I could reward you by not dropping dead in front of you.
Please don't die. Please don't die until I can't see you.
Correct, because it's like, I don't want to have to perform CPR mouth-to-mouth on somebody. For the record, you don't really have to do mouth-to-mouth anymore. It's what? Mouthless CPR now is what they do? I don't know. So
I don't know.
Anyway, it's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here we are, and we are very excited. We had a full week this week. We had regular work, but then we did extra things this week, and that's what we were talking about. We are going to be talking about Pygmy Hippopotamus today. Now, is it hippopotamus or hippopotami? What's the plural of hippopotamus? Hippopotamuses?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, and I didn't know if in your research you came up with that, but then again, I didn't ask. So the way we're going to do this today, this is a question and answer format where I will be asking the questions and Anne will be providing her expertise. Because we were kind of thinking of questions as we were looking at the baby hippo, Hugo, from the John Ball Zoo. I actually have a picture of Hugo that was on our promo this week. So that was actually baby Hugo when he was a super tiny baby. He's a bigger baby now, but he is still an excellent baby and still extremely cute. He's his birthday is in September. He was born September, was it 3rd?
I think so.
Let me see. Let me look that up real quick. When was Hugo the hippo born in John Ball Zoo? All right. Let's see. September 3rd. Oh my gosh!
Oh, Jenny.
Lucy and Hugo have the same birthday.
Oh.
That's adorbs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I love that. All right. Super exciting. All right, Ann brother, should we kick this thing off? Since you're gonna do all the talking today, I'll take us through the thingy-mabobber, okay?
Okay.
First off, two things. Happy Pride Month to you two, Ann brothers. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the screen so we can all see our lovely faces. It is in fact June, which means it's Pride Month. Is that one of the flags you got at the garage sale the other day?
Yes, it is. It is one of the flags, and that's part of. Eventually, that will be a headband, so that I can wear it to our Pride run next week.
That's right. Ann and I are going to Detroit next week. We are celebrating our Aunt Julie's birthday on June 14th, which is her birthday, which is also Flag Day. And we're going to the crap, I can't think of the name of it. The Palmer Park run. And that is a specific one for Pride Month. So we're going. Aunt Julie's t-shirt should be here on, I think, Friday. So it took them longer, but I got royal blue because it looks really nice. No, I got aqua blue because it looks nice with the picture that I picked out for her t-shirt. So it's gonna look good. It'll fit right in. So
excellent.
So yeah. All right. So happy Pride Month indeed. For those of you who don't know who we are, this is who we are. We are Ann and Janice brothers. We are sisters. Our last name is Brothers. Yes, sisters would have been a better last name, but we didn't get a choice. The sisters. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, we're the brother sisters. So shut up about it. All right, good. All right, anyway, we're in our 50s, which means we're Gen X, which means like the generations before us, we remember the past as better than it really was. Absolutely. That's a trap of the past. And so we're like, oh, so great. But then because you shine up all the parts that suck, and there's plenty that sucks about any of that. So, I got caught in some Gen X nostalgia this week because Joe and I went to Music Bingo, and one of the categories for Music Bingo, this is the category 1, BTW. That means by the way. The category was 1984. So every song they played for Music Bingo was 1984. And I got to tell you, that was a banging year for music for anybody that listened to pop music. So Duncan, is he still back there? Duncan, my brother-in-law, Ann's husband, he does not necessarily agree that 1984 was as banging as Ann and I thought it was, because there were some just straight ass awesome songs from 1984. I would put it up there with one of the greatest years in music ever. Okay. Yep. Nothing back there. Okay. Anyway, but that's just me. So I got caught up in that, and that was really fun. So good job, Kai, the Music Bingo girl, because last week we had the junior varsity guy came in, the replacement. I call him the JV. He's not even the JV. He's like freshman B team guy. He did not have his shit together. It was sad. So fortunately, Kai was back this week and all was right with the bingo universe. So huzzah.
Nice.
All right. On our program, as you may have figured out, we talk about smart stuff, fun stuff, dumb stuff, and any combination of the three. We are not cool, hip, or sexy. We know this because we don't need to be. We've passed that. We're the beauty of it, and anybody that's in their 50s will tell you how great it is to be in your 50s, because there's a lot of things you sort of let go of in your 50s that you would never let go of in your 20s, 30s, or 40s. Because in your 20s and 30s, you still believe you're the cool kids at school. The 40s, you're kind of still desperately trying to hang on to that, and by your 50s, you're like, it's over. Okay.
And if you're one of those people in the 50s who's desperately trying to hang on to being cool, I say, just let it go. Just let it go.
Take care. Feel free to take care of yourself. Do your exercises, take care so that you could keep your muscle tone and your mobility and do all of that and all of that. But, it's just that it's nice to be able to say, you know what? I know who I am. I'm cool. I'm cool. So there you are. That's where we are. We are not a true crime celebrity or influencer podcast. We are the ice cream truck of podcasts. Yes. We have a theme song. You're excited to see us, and we have good things to bring to you. I have to admit, Ann, as you know, we were at the Normal Park garage sales just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And as we finished, we went by the house that sells the hot dogs and parked right in front of them was the fucking ice cream truck.
I
And it was so
know.
beautiful. And people were excited. Yeah. Excited, happy. Yeah, the ice cream truck is still amazing. So
yeah, and that's what gave me the idea. I saw the ice cream truck and I was immediately happy. Even though I didn't get anything, I was still really happy.
It was just we were just really glad. It's nice to know that it's still there. We were just really glad to see it. So
exactly, it's still okay for kids to get ice cream from a stranger.
Totally, yeah.
Driving a creepy truck.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. So, we've been told that we are good to listen to when you want to learn things about stuff, and because we're just so darn funny. There you go. This podcast is not rated G, PG, or PG-13. We swears. We don't talk about anything like super gross or like super cringy, but we do say the occasional fuck bomb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You do, because I just said it. So, please join us on our website, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Amazon Music. Like us, follow us, smash the bell, hit the button, do whatever the thing is that you're supposed to do. Smash it. There you go. Give us your feedback with our Q&A at our polls. You can ask Alexa to play us because she knows us, and we know her. We're friendly. And we have her super like hip right now. Her voice in our Alexa's like kind of hip and fun. You're like, hey, you kids. And it's kind of fun because she's got more things that she does now. Like, she'll like say things like, hey, I got this thing you might want, and so instead of, so she's always trying to sell me something. And then she'll kind of like randomly out of nowhere be like, hey, here's the thing. You're like, I didn't ask for you. What are you doing?
What are you doing? It's like, is she flirting with me? I think Alexa has a crush on me.
I actually think she has a crush on Dad. And I think he has a crush back because he's super nice to her. Because like, he'll be like, Alexa, well, first he'll shout at Alexa. He'll be like, do this thing, Alexa. And then he'll be like, thank you. It's cute. So that's for sure. All right. Again, you guys remember, if you want to support us in some way, shape, or form, and we know you do, all you got to do is like and follow and tell other people to like and follow. And then let the liking and following continue. It's the chain letter that you don't have to give $1 to. There you go. It's the free chain letter. And we love that. We love that. We would love that from you. So there you go. All right, Ann Brothers. Let's talk about the smart, dumb, fun stuff we did this week. You go.
All right. So the Metropolitan Opera does simulcasts of their operas in theaters across the country. So even if you're not in New York City and you want to see one of the operas that's being performed at the Metropolitan Opera, you can go to a local theater. And the one in Ann Arbor, the Cinnamon, I don't know, can't remember what it's called. It used to be where we used to go see movies, Jenny, next to Ypsilanti.
Oh yeah. I don't remember what those are called. So yeah.
So my friend Annette, because Annette is a huge opera fan. This is actually my third opera now. It's I'm going to totally say it wrong because it's in Spanish, but basically it was the last dream. It's it means the last dream of Frida and Diego. So the writer, what they did was, it's 3 years after Frida has died and Diego has gone to the cemetery on the Day of the Dead to ask her to return and visit him. So that's basically what the opera is about. And man, the Metropolitan Opera, they put on it was like exciting. The costumes were great. There's all kind of special effects. I mean, they really go all out. And Annette said that, if we ever go, we need to go get dressed up, get the $40 glass of champagne. So I guess if I ever do make it to New York City and I'm going to go see a live show, I think I'm going to go see an opera. So
I've actually, of all of the things that I have ever wanted to do in the city of New York, that's going to the Met is at the very top of my list for two reasons. A, because I think it would be an amazing experience and something that I would never do just regularly. And B, they have the Chagall's in the lobby there.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, that's super appealing to me because Marc Chagall is one of my favorite artists. So yeah, I have always wanted to do that. If you've ever seen the movie Moonstruck, you automatically kind of want to do that because it's such a cool thing. I'm like, I want to go to there. I want to dress up and I want to have $40 champagne too. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
I think it sounds cool as hell.
Yeah. So anyway, we went and did that. It was, the thing is, this is my first opera in a different language. It was in Spanish, and I really liked that better because it felt like it gave the performance more of this ethereal sort of magical element to it. Of course, they have the subtitles in English, and then I thought the opera was a little repetitive for me, but the costumes were beautiful. The performances were great. There was this one character who was supposed to be like a Greta Garbo drag queen, which was awesome, and this dancing was spectacular. They had these skeletons that were breakdancing and popping and locking, so they actually would move like they were skeletons, like on strings. That was so fucking cool. I can't even tell you. And then afterwards, we went to Blank Slate and had ice cream, and that's
yay!
Some of the best ice cream in Michigan is at Blank Slate. But, yeah,
nice. That sounds cool.
And so that was a smart thing I did.
I love it.
And then it was also fun, but the fun, Duncan calls it my Christmas. We went to the Normal Park neighborhood yard sales, and it's always the first Saturday in June. And it was Jenny and Duncan and our friend Jeannie and Maggie. And man, I found nothing huge this year, but a bunch of fun, small things. This year, it was full of antique jewelry, antique teacups and saucers, and vintage purses. And it was just like, I died and gone to heaven. So it was definitely my Christmas. And we got hot dogs at 10 a.m.
We did. We got our 10 a.m. hot dogs, and it was the weather was because it rained pretty much all Friday night, and so it was really great because everything kind of washed clean, and the weather was perfect for the sale, and it was just really nice. It was lots of good sales. I found lots of little things as well. A lot of there was the very first place we went had bags of Sharpies for $1, so I bought me some bags of Sharpies for $1 because, dude, Sharpies are expensive. And those weren't, and they're in pretty good shape. So, I was pleased with my purchase there for sure. Yeah. So that was good. So I'm gonna bring this up because there was nothing smart about my week this week. This was pretty much all dumb stuff for me this week. So this is my favorite dumb thing this week. It's this. For those of you that can't see it, it's a dinosaur with rainbow lights in it going 1,000,000 miles an hour. Oh yeah.
Happy Pride Month.
This is like a Pride Month dinosaur. It's fucking awesome. I'm going to eat the world. Anyway, I got this. It was one of my fucking bucket presents for my sister that I finally got around to opening. So there we go.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I buy because I'm like, if I had been like 6 and I saw this, I would have wanted it so bad. I wouldn't have been able to get it because nobody would buy it for me, and I didn't have any money to buy anything at 6. But man, so whenever I see crap like that, I'm like, I gotta buy it because now I'm grown up with money.
I'm grown up with money and I can buy whatever I want. That's why I have a dinosaur bedspread, and that's why I have a peacock lamp and a dinosaur lamp over here because I never really got over that. So I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry a bit. So. All right, so the others, so like I said, it was just dumb stuff for me this week. This was sort of like yesterday was your Christmas. This week is kind of my sportsing Christmas. I know everybody gets all excited about the Super Bowl, and I enjoy the Super Bowl, but this week was Women's College World Series, which is the softball college championship. That started last weekend and it finished up this week. Congratulations to the University of Texas. They repeated as champions. Kind of was rooting for Texas Tech, and but still, and I was a little bit disappointed because the final series only went 2 games instead of 3, so I was deprived of one more night of softball. But maybe next year. The other thing is, it was the start of the Stanley Cup Finals, which is kind of it doesn't really matter who's playing for me. I like playoff hockey, NHL. It's brutal and it's really hard to win the Stanley Cup. And so this year, the Stanley Cup Finals are from the Western Conference, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and from the Eastern Conference, the Carolina Hurricanes. So a couple of weird warm weather teams, which is, and I don't really have a stake in the game. It doesn't really make much difference to me. So the fun thing is that this series has been wackadoodle. Like the teams have been scoring like 10 goals a game. There's last night, Carolina was down 3-0, and they ended up losing 5-4 in overtime because they scored like 4 goals in the third period. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So this series has been a lot of fun because it's been really close. It's been really tight. There's been a ton of goals. There's been overtimes. It's had everything so far. So I'm really hoping it goes 7 games because again, it's fun to watch this sort of hockey. It's really tense and really fun. So that's, like I said, this is sportsing Christmas for me. All right, and brothers, are you ready to talk about Wait, I got to add it to the stage. Questions about pygmy hippopotamus.
I
Hip hoppa. I haven't been this excited to talk about hippopotamus since the Flight of the Conchords came out with the song Rhymenoceros and hip hoppopotamus and Rhymenoceros. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should YouTube hip hoppopotamus and Rhymenoceros from the Flight of the Conchords because it's one of the best songs ever written. Not really, but it's so funny.
It's so funny.
Yes.
So funny.
It is. It's fantastic. All right. So, Ann Brothers, I am going to ask you some questions, and then you are going to provide answers to those questions. And now, some of these questions you're probably going to answer more than one at once. So, we have 12 questions. I don't know if we'll get to all 12 questions. My guess is that you'll probably answer some of the questions while you're answering other questions. So, we're just going to go with it. Here we go. Are you ready?
I am.
Question number 1. Here it is. What is a pygmy hippo?
Well, a pygmy hippo is a mammal. And it's an aquatic mammal, semi-aquatic, I should say. So it spends a lot of time in fresh water, usually freshwater rivers or freshwater swamps. Like I said, it's a mammal, so it has fur, not a lot, but I was noticing the mammal, I was noticing the pygmy hippo male the other day, and he had like fuzzy ears, and a fuzzy bristly tail. So they do have hair. They have backbones, like all mammals have backbones. All mammals are warm-blooded. All mammals give birth to live young. All mammals, all female mammals produce milk to feed their babies. So those are all characteristics of mammals, and pygmy hippos are just like that. They look similar to the common or regular hippo. Similar, like they have their bulbous but they are they're smaller. But yeah, so I have a hippo right here. This is Henrietta the hippo. This is my childhood toy. I know, right?
Oh my God.
I've had
Henrietta the hippo.
Yeah,
what?
I've had Henrietta hippo since as long as I can remember. I used to dress her up, and we would have tea parties together. So this is what a hippo kind of looks like. Pygmy hippo looks very similar. So this is Henrietta. She used to have like a heart's face, but that kind of wore off. So yeah, so that's what a hippo looks like. That's what a pygmy hippo looks. If you imagine a regular full-sized hippo, you're not too far off. So those are characteristics of common characteristics of a hippopotamus, pygmy hippo.
That's awesome. Okay. I love that. All right. So that was question 1. Next question. Here we go. And you basically talked about some of the differences between common hippos and pygmy hippos. I was asking for 5 differences between pygmy hippos and common hippos. I think you talked about quite a few of them right there. Do you want to talk about more?
One thing about pygmy hippos is that they're solitary animals. So they don't hang out in big groups where the common hippo or a regular hippo, they hang out in groups of 20 or 30. Like usually a dominant male with a bunch of females and babies, but pygmy hippos are they're solitary. Pygmy hippos are they're significantly smaller. A pygmy hippo might weigh anywhere from 350 pounds to 600 pounds, where a regular or common hippo, a male, can weigh up to 8,000 pounds. So there's a big difference between those two. What else? Another thing that's different from each other is where they're found. Pygmy hippos have a much smaller range. So West Africa, so in Liberia, Guyana, Sierra Leone, where you'll find the common hippo in all of sub-Saharan Africa. So that is usually where, and you usually find them in more larger river systems. And you'll find the pygmy hippos in smaller regional areas because they have their territorial area, and like I said, they don't like to run into each other. Another thing is that pygmy hippos are usually fairly docile. Their thing is too, if they feel threatened, they usually run away. Hippopotamuses, the big guys, they are dangerous. They are aggressive. They put up with no bullshit, and they're one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. They're responsible for more deaths than crocodiles or something, or lions.
Yeah, they're actually way deadlier than crocodiles. People
Yeah.
are afraid of alligators and crocodiles. I'm like, nah, but you should be afraid of that fucking hippo.
Yeah, exactly. Pygmy hippos usually have, like one pair of incisors, where the regular or common hippo might have 2 to 3 sets of incisors. So they have a lot more. And this is an interesting thing I didn't know. Pygmy hippos are classified strictly as herbivores. They eat only grass and vegetation. Hippopotamuses have been known to eat meat, especially during droughts. And so some places actually listed them as omnivores.
No
So that was
shit.
another thing I thought was very interesting. So if they attack and kill something, they might eat some of it. That's
Okay.
yeah. So
right.
they're pygmy hippo. Often you'll see like people like in zoological environments, they'll work on training pygmy hippos. They don't usually work on trying to train a common hippo, because common hippo not going to put up with your shit.
Well,
So
one of the things I noticed is that you don't see a ton of common hippos in zoos. Like you see
you
some,
really don't. You really don't,
but you
because
especially
they need to be in a group. You can't just have one hippo, a common hippo, because they won't do very well. They need to be in a family group, or at least 4 or 5, 6 of them, and they make an enormous amount of poop. So yeah.
So much poo. All
Mhm.
right. So if you're looking at the screen right now, you can kind of see what Emma's talking about. You can see the range in yellow of the common hippo. You can see the size comparison. They have it to scale with just an average size human. You
Mhm.
can see the difference between the common hippo and the top blue one and the bottom purple one. You can see the pygmy hippo compared to um, just a normal human. And then of course you can see the range in green at the bottom. So as you can see, the range of the pygmy hippo is so tiny compared
Mhm.
to the rest. It's amazing. I did not realize that. I'm like looking at the comparison right now, and it
Mhm.
is stunning how many more common hippos there are compared to pygmies. So
Yeah.
pygmies, get to work.
Mhm.
So there you go.
So, and another thing is that pygmy hippos are endangered, and and the common hippo is not really considered endangered. It's considered, something to be watched. But yeah, pygmy hippos are. There's only about 2,500 in the wild. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
So let's talk about I'm going to skip that because you just told me a bunch of their similarities and differences.
Mhm.
Um, we talked about where we find them on Earth. We find pygmy hippos basically in Western Africa. I know Ivory Coast or
Mhm.
Liberia. And so those are the main. I think Liberia has the largest population of pygmy hippos.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the ecosystem.
Mhm.
Oops, that's not what I wanted. Hang on, sorry. I'm doing stupid stuff here. Oh, that's what I wanted. Okay, next question. What kind of ecosystems do pygmy hippos live in?
Well, they live in they like it to be a wet, because they're semi-aquatic. They usually spend their day in the water, because that's both types of hippos are nocturnal. So when we were at John Bell Zoo and the hippos were sleeping, that's what they do during the day. They sleep. So when they bring them their snack in the afternoon, that's kind of like their early morning snack, and they'll be awake all evening. So they'll usually sleep in the water, because they can close up their nose, and they have good feet. They can like walk on the bottom of ponds, small rivers, places where they're not going to bump into a bunch of other hippos. So they like it a little more isolated, a little more jungle-like, a little more swamp-like. Some places where people aren't really going to bump into them. Something like that. Something where you're not going to like, hey, I'm going to take a nice walk and maybe see some pygmy hippos. So yeah, they're a little more, not quite fast-moving rivers, but this is the cool thing about all hippos, is that because they don't like a lot of um what is it herbivores will regurgitate food and rechew it, like chewing cud. You'll see cows do that. Deer will do that. Hippos don't do that. They have this like super this gut full of all kinds of gut bacteria. They have this great gut biome, and so it ferments in their stomach. One of the reasons why they're so farty. So it kind of ferments in their stomach, and when they defecate, it adds so much nutrients and food to the water area. It's almost like they're a keystone species in that they supply so much more food to other organisms in their environment. You know, whether they're on land defecating or in the water defecating, they add a lot of nutrients to the environment and a lot of good bacteria. You know, they have this awesome gut biome. If you know, it's like, hey, eat coleslaw, or not, was it coleslaw? Yeah, not, you know, like kimchi and stuff, or, you know, to help your gut biome.
Fermented.
Yeah.
You know, and that's funny because when you look at like cows, when you look at what cows do to an ecosystem, it's the same thing. Their poop is actually is really contributes a lot to an ecosystem, unlike human poop, which is toxic. So, hey.
Yes, it's what we would call hot. It burns the ecosystem. Yeah, right, so they both do that. Cool. So they both add a lot to their ecosystem. So they, you know, they have a lot. It's a very damp, probably a place you don't really want to hang out because there's probably a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of other things, you know. But yeah, that's what they like. They like to hang out in the water during the day when it's hot, and when it's evening time, they come out and they graze. Yeah, so there you go.
I live in a moist environment.
Moist. It is moist. Yes, it is.
Hey, millennials, moist. Okay.
Moist. Good. You know, here's another thing that they both have in common is that both pygmy hippos and the common hippo, they secrete this this liquid that kind of acts like a sunscreen on them. So it protects their skin from the sun. And it's kind of a pink color. So it's often called blood sweat. But it's basically just this natural sunscreen they secrete. It kind of makes them a little like slimy and damp looking. But it's like just protecting their skin. So, you know, it's like they want to maintain a healthy skin, as we all should be wearing our sunscreen. They kind of make their own sunscreen. So pretty cool.
I have a picture of that. Hold on. Let me get this picture up here of, what do you call it? Blood sweat?
Blood sweat.
Blood.
So it's kind of this pinky color.
That's cool. So it looks like that.
Yeah, looks like that. Okay. So you're like, what's wrong with him? Nothing. He's secreting. And you see these birds, you know, there'll be like ticks and bugs and stuff on the hippo, and the birds will come and they'll pick it off. And sometimes hippos will open their mouth wide, and birds will fly into their mouth and clean their mouths.
That's what we call mutualism.
Mutualism, exactly. So
that's
yeah,
right. It's like, a type of symbiosis.
You can eat the bird if they want, but they don't want to. They just want to, because their teeth are very important. You know, if you don't have your teeth, you don't eat and you die. So yeah, it's important to maintain, you know, put on your sunscreen, get your teeth cleaned. Man, hippos are like, they should be influencers.
Hippos they're like a dictionary of how to live. No, I'm sorry, an encyclopedia of how to live. Love that.
Exactly.
So cool. All right, excellent. All right, so let's talk about, you just said earlier that pygmy hippos are indeed endangered. How many pygmy hippos are estimated to remain in the wild today?
About 2,500. And they get, you know, there's several reasons why. One is they're hunted for bushmeat. And another reason is that, of course, for habitat loss. And sometimes, you know, the areas that they're in can be areas of conflict. So that could be another issue. You know, they become a casualty of conflict. Yeah, so they're just, they're not often hunted for their ivory in their for their tusks, because they don't have the same amount. You know, they're smaller. They only have one set. Where common hippos, that happens more often, where they'll be hunted because of their tusks, because of their they have those big 2 to 3 sets of incisors. So that will happen too. But yeah, there's a smaller area. They have a smaller range where they live. They have a little more, common hippos are a little more versatile in their habitat, where pygmy hippos are more specific in their habitat. So habitat loss can affect them much more. And they have a small population to begin with. They've never had the huge range. And so that's the other thing. So.
Well, and whenever you get to a certain population size with something, you start to see they're affected that much more. So yeah, that's pretty common when you start to get to those levels of a species where they're critically endangered like that. Yeah. So do you happen to know how many pygmy hippos are in captivity?
There's about 400 in captivity. They do well in breeding programs in captivity. Hippos can have one hippo about every 2 years. And they have enough in captivity that they've developed a very good breeding program of keeping, you know, very good records about who's breeding with who, and so they're not having overbreeding, and yeah, it's been
little
fairly
inbred
successful
hippos. None of that.
in the
Right,
in the zoological society. So yeah, they do well. Like I said, when you have common hippos in a zoological area, you have to have a huge enclosure with a number of hippos. With pygmy hippos, the one thing you have to be careful of is that you have enclosures for each hippo, because they're not going to want to hang out together. So that's a big thing. So yes, there's about 400. It's considered a very successful program.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So speaking of lives in hippos, what's the average lifespan for a pygmy hippo?
20 to 30 years. Yeah.
And is that both wild and captivity?
About 20 years wild, 30 years in captivity, which is pretty good. For the common hippo, it's closer to 30 to 40 years. So yeah, they do. They are long lived. Of course, they don't reach maturity until like 4 or 5 years. So that's a long time, So in their lifetime, they may be able to have 10 to 15 offspring. But in a zoo, those offspring are more likely to survive than they are in the wild. So of those 10 to 15 offspring, if they're lucky, maybe 6 or 7 will survive to adulthood to reproduce.
Okay.
And if you're a pygmy hippo and you are not looking to hang out with other pygmy hippos, and you go into season and there's no other male, opposite sex hippo, you may lose. That hippo may lose out on a breeding year because they're, they couldn't find someone of the opposite sex to, make a baby hippo with. So that's another issue.
To make some baby hippo. There you go. So, all right. All right, so let's talk about making a baby hippo, shall we?
Yes.
All right, so basically what I want to know is this. How are male and female pygmy hippos different?
There's not a huge difference. The males are a little bit bigger, but not, maybe it's only like, the hippo ranges between 350 and 600 pounds. So the males are on the heavier side, the females are on the lighter side. So yes, the male is going to be bigger, but we saw examples of a female and a male pygmy hippo, and they were both about the same size. Now, here's the great thing, Jenny. We noticed that there was bristles on the end of the male's tail, and that seems to be more of a male thing. It can happen with females, but not as much. And Jenny and I got to see the male pygmy hippo, do something very interesting. He backed himself up against a rock, started to poop on the rock, and then fanned the poop with his bristly tail. And we're like, what is he doing? He's marking his territory. That's how they mark their territory. They back up against, some sort of outcropping or a tree or some sort of, physical marker. They take a dump at it. They spew it out. It fans it all over the place. So like another pygmy hippo was like, oh, somebody else lives here. I'm going to keep going because I don't want to hang out with him. So
it was an impressive display.
It was a very impressive display. And so females usually don't do that. The males are the ones that do that. So that's one of the differences.
I'm not sure what was more awesome, the pooping and peeing display by the hippo, or the two ladies that were behind us just having a meltdown. Oh, that's so gross! Oh my god!
It was like very effective. I was quite impressed.
It was very, I think it's interesting to watch different animals poop. Like I said, the first time I saw a golden eagle poop, you're like, whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah, so he was marking his territory, and the thing is, like, he was waiting for his snack at a place where he often gets snack. So why wouldn't he mark his territory there to say, this is where the snack comes from. This is my territory. I get the snack.
So everybody else can just back off. This is my snack stand. It was amazing. And as soon as he started, because you could tell he was up to something, because when he backed up there, I'm like, he's going to do something. He's going to do something. And then he did it. And it was like, let's go.
Yeah, because I thought he was going to scratch his butt. Nope, he was marking his territory. And I was like, you don't see the females do that. Real, I mean, they will, but it's mostly a male behavior. So
nice. I love it. Okay, so that's...
Of course, go ahead. The females can have babies, the males can't. And the gestational period for a pygmy hippo is about 46 to 51 weeks. So a little bit longer than a human one. For a
that's
common
nearly a
hippo, it's
year.
more like what did I say? 46 to 51. For a common hippo,
Yeah.
it's about 10 weeks longer at about 61 weeks.
That's a long time to carry
It is a
a
long
baby.
time, but they're big
Yeah,
babies.
they are big babies. I'm gonna find a picture of a pregnant pygmy hippo. Let's see what that looks like, shall we?
Hmm.
No, they just look really round. That's no big deal.
Yeah,
They just look
they just
super
look like
round.
a big,
Yeah,
they look
they
like a
look super
hippo.
fat. So
Hmm.
yeah, for real.
Yeah,
All right.
so.
So then okay, so specifically now we got really lucky. We got to see the pygmies eat. So they were like, we got to the zoo, I don't know, about 1:30. And so it was kind of, everybody was sleepy because it's, hippo sleepy time.
Hmm.
And we came back because there was a sign that said they were going to feed the hippos at 2:30. So we came back around 2:30 and we got to watch them feed. They dropped a bunch of vegetation into the enclosure and mom and baby got up right away and started working on that. So what do they, I mean, obviously they eat greenery. Like you said,
Hmm.
they're vegetarian. So
Hmm.
what specifically do they really go after? I mean, what's the deal?
Well, in
Apparently they like kale.
yeah, in their natural habitat, they eat a lot of grass, a lot of leaves. Anything that's green and vegetable. They'll try it out and eat it. So they are not, as long as it's like vegetable matter. They're going to give it a try. They gotta eat a lot. They're eating between 30 and 100 pounds a day of you know vegetation. So that's a lot of vegetation. And they
That
do that
is
all night long. That's what they
impressive.
do at night. Is they pretty much graze. They're grazing animals. So they're not out hunting or anything. They're just grazing like a cow or a giraffe or something. So they're just going around eating stuff, which
This was a
means
picture. This is a picture I took of baby Hugo from the John Ball Zoo.
mhm.
Hang on, let me get
and
this picture up here.
it's like that's one of the reasons why they have to have a pretty extensive territory, because they'll graze something down and they have to move on and graze another area down and keep moving on. So they have a pretty decent sized territory to make sure that there's always fresh vegetation wherever they go.
There we go.
Hmm.
This was Hugo celebrating over the fact that he vanquished his tree. He was struggling to get some of the leaves off of this branch, and so when he got one, and then he was complaining, and then he was yawning, and so there he is. This picture just makes it look like he's like dominating his lunch. So
Yeah, yeah, he was dominating snack time. He was killing it. So yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
Okay, so you answered the question I had, this question 10, which was about the gestation period for a
Mhm.
pygmy hippo. You said anywhere between 46 and 51 weeks, which is awesome.
Mhm.
And then my next question, my follow-up question to that was, how long do baby pygmy hippos hang out with their mom? So
About
here we got
two
to see
years.
Hugo. Okay,
Mhm.
Hugo and Penelope were hanging out. I'm like, how long does mom get to have the kid around? So
Yeah, they'll hang out together for approximately 2 years, and then she goes into season again, and then she'll go off to have another hippo, but she doesn't want the other one hanging around. So they'll go off and make their own pygmy hippo life. So at least a year, but probably closer to two, maybe not 2 years exactly, but more than a year. So between one and probably closer to 2 years.
okay, and so how soon does so we have Hugo at the
Mhm.
John Ball Zoo, who's a little male. How long before he becomes productive?
Oh, it'll be a couple of years. It'll be a couple of years before he becomes productive. And that's the thing, it's like now they have two really nice spaces that they switch on. They have an indoor space and an outdoor space. But once within another year or so, they're going to have to make room for Hugo's own space, because he's not going to hang out with his dad. His dad would be on. The males do not parent at all. He would just see
Yeah.
Hugo as somebody trying to get his snacks. So yeah, they're going to have
So
to have a separate area for Hugo, and he won't hang out with his mom then either. So that's the thing. He
do
may
you think
be
it likely
he may be transported to another zoo to help with like, hey, we need a pygmy hippo because we have a female. So that is a likely thing as well.
well, and that was kind of my thought, was that he gets old enough, they'll either, because the male hippo at the John Ball Zoo, his name is Jahari. So Jahari's the dad, Penelope's the mom, and Hugo is the baby. So it seems likely that Hugo is the one that's going to get shipped off, because
Mhm.
Penelope and Jahari have already, been successfully mated, it seems like they would be able to successfully mate again. So,
and the mating thing, that's another thing too. Why is that when they brought Jahari in to meet Penelope, it takes a long time. It takes them months to start like, are you the one? Are you the one? Because they don't, like I said, they're not looking to hang out with each other. So introducing them took months, and then she still could have been like, nope. So, but she must have thought he was good enough. So
he went some scrub, Pygmy Hippo. He was worthy. So
he was worthy. So.
All right. So this is my last question. Question 12. How many zoos in the U.S. have Pygmy hippos, and how successful have they been at breeding the hippos? You've actually already answered that question. You said there's about 400 hippos in captivity, and that this has actually been successful, a good program of breeding these hippos and bringing them to zoos all over the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess, the next thing would be like, can we release them back into the wild? And, that really depends on the carrying capacity of their ecosystem. If they have an ecosystem that can't manage them, then what do? Then how many do you have? Do you try to maintain this population of 400 in captivity? Is that the top that we can maintain? So it's this real balancing act. Right now, we can't. It's not easy. Once you start screwing up an ecosystem for the organisms that live there, it's real hard to fix it. It gets just, it's like, it's super easy to mess up and super hard to fix. So that's one of the things I did find out about hippos is that you can't mate pygmy hippos and common hippos. They both have 36 chromosomes, but they are not in the same species. So they're kind of cousins to each other, but you can't mate them. And one didn't develop from the other. They have a common ancestor, so they are not related. We're like, like dogs came from wolves. That's not what happened. They have one common ancestor. They separated for about 10 million years ago. So they are not, you can't make medium hippos. Is that like
does I understand what
like
you're saying? So,
large or you can't. So yeah, they are not. You cannot. It's not like a horse and a mule where you can make a donkey. No, nothing like that. So those people are like, oh,
You mean a horse and a donkey make a mule?
Like, who would win in a fight, a common hippo or a pygmy hippo? The common hippo. The pygmy hippo is just gonna run. He's like, he's a lover, not a fighter. So
smart. Yeah, and you're not going to win that fight because of physics. Yeah.
And this is another thing about common hippos that makes them so dangerous is that an 8,000-pound hippo can run 30 miles an hour over short bursts. Yeah, you are not outrunning the hippo that is pissed off at you for whatever reason. He just might think that you are ugly and you should die. And then if that's what he decides, you're probably going to, because he is going to kill you. Yeah, and run you down. So thing. Yeah, God. That's impressive. 30. Yeah, it's not like they can do it very long, but I can't run 30 miles an hour, and
I can't run. I can't run as slow as I run for very long. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. So I thought that was like, I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. So
that is super interesting. Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So they're both excellent swimmers. They can both like close their nose, which is cool.
We got to see that the other day when Jahari was in the water, because we got a good look at Jahari and his ecosystem, because he was out on land pooping on and spreading his poop around, and then he went and hung out in the water because it was hot on Wednesday, and it was fun because he would go under the water for a while and he would come up, and then he kind of found a spot kind of where he was like just kind of right at the water line taking a nap, and
taking a nap.
Long eyelashes.
So. Oh, he had beautiful eyelashes. I mean, jealous-inducing eyelashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, they have like little web toes. So they're good swimmers. They're quite athletic in the water. You're like, ooh. And of course, anything that lives in the water is going to have a good reserve of fat, because you need to make sure that you can regulate your temperature. And water can get cold, so you got to make sure you regulate your temperature. So yeah.
Truth.
So it was great. Cool. It was super great. I'm a big fan of the Pygmy Hippo, and
yeah,
it was a good day.
Adorable. It was a good day. Good job, John Ball Zoo. I always have mixed feelings about zoos, but I thought that was I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, again.
Yeah, I hadn't been to a zoo in a really long time, and I still have that feeling. Like, I'm not a huge fan of them, but they seem to be doing well. If animals can breed in an environment like that, it tells you that a lot of their needs are being met, and they're happy and comfortable, because they're not going to reproduce if they feel endangered or threatened or stressed. So I'm like, that does speak well of the facility. It's just not my most favorite thing. So I was glad I got to do this. I'm glad some other people get to, I'm glad children will get a chance to learn about it, and maybe they will make fewer mistakes than we did because they know more.
I hope so. Yeah,
I hope so too.
That would be great. That would be awesome. And do you have any other final thoughts about hippos?
Did I tell you that they had 36 chromosomes? So 17.
You did tell me that.
Okay. Yeah. It was just, they were cool, and I was like, I've always been a fan of a hippo. They just big fan.
Just cool. Yeah, I love it. It's because of your Henrietta Hippo, and it's because of the hippo statue that we used to play on when we were kids at the Maple Hill Mall. So,
yeah, in fact, I have a giant. Well, it's not giant. I have a big cement hippo in my backyard, because I was like, as soon as I saw them, I'm like, that's it. That's what I want. Big cement hippo.
Everybody, lift this up, and take this to my backyard.
So, exactly.
Nicely done. Cool.
So, there we go.
Well, all right, everybody. Guess what? It's that time. You survived another near hour with the Brother Sisters. You learned things about stuff. Today, you learned about pygmy hippos, and you learned the differences between pygmy hippos and common hippos, and then a bunch of other stuff about pygmy hippos that you probably did not know before. So, well done. Thanks for being with us. Remember, we want to hear from you. Answer our poll questions. Give us your questions, concerns, comments, and confessions. That's right. Remember, you can support us for absolutely free. All you got to do is like, follow, subscribe, leave a review on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Put the word out. That way you can hear this amazing song by Max Caselli, The Ballad of the Brother Sisters Part 2. That's right. Hey, you should join us next week. Next weekend, you guys, we are going to be talking about the Apple TV show Widow's Bay, because it's fucking awesome. So we're going to be talking about Widow's Bay and why you should watch it, why it's probably one of the better TV shows that's been on in a while. In the meantime, until next week, I am Janice Brothers, and with me is my sister Ann Brothers. Ann Brothers. Sorry, I stole your thunder this week, because last week you forgot. Then I'm like, what am I going to do? No. Anyway, we want you to get out there, do something smart, do something dumb, do something fun. We are out of here.
Bye.